one guy that you was in love with. And he's in jail now, and he's going to go to prison because of this one guy. Now, I don't think it's fair that you hold his name back after he's hurt everybody that you know.
Yeah, I can't remember, Sam.
Did he ever come up to the apartment, to Charlotte's apartment?
I don't remember.
Did you ever go to an address on Jefferson Street in Beatrice where some people lived?
Yeah.
Do you remember who lived there?
His parents.
Do you remember who might have been around Beth when they at that address?
Yeah, because her parents didn't have her mother.
Who was that? Now I know who you're talking about, JoAnn, but I need you to tell me, okay? Because you've told me so many things about what we know and what you know about this person that I know who it is, okay? But you need to tell me who it is.
JoAnn, do you think it'd be fair if we would get a arrest warrant for Mark Goodson for being in that room and shutting that alarm clock off? Is that who you're saying? Are you saying that Snake, Mark Goodson, shut the alarm clock off, or are you not sure? Are you not sure? Do you remember who it was? When I asked you who shut the alarm clock off when it went off, you told me it was Snake. Is Mark Goodson any relation to you?
Just a friend.
But you knew him.
Brother.
But you knew him in California.
He's a biker brother.
Right, he's a biker brother.
Yeah.
He's also a male prostitute out of Reno, Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. Is that correct? Now, he's not going to hurt your child, right? Because he's in Las Vegas.
He wouldn't be stupid anyway, because Dutch is what having him watched. Dutch and Satan don't trust him.
Okay, so can we eliminate him from being in that room? Did you make a mistake, or do you want us to say that he was in that room?
I made a gift of him.
Okay.
I'm confused.
You want to quit?
We can't.
JoAnn, I'll tell you what we can do. We can conclude this interview, give you a little chance to relax, think about it. Maybe the trip home, this name will come to your mind.
You'll take me back, but you'll take me back with a broken arm.
Would you deny that, JoAnn?
What'd you say? I'll have a fractured wrist by morning.
Are you going to inflict body harm on yourself?
What else is there to do?
I thought you wanted to
I
get
ain't got
this...
nothing to live for, Sam.
You most certainly do. You have 2 children.
Yeah. And they're going to get hurt.
They're not going to get hurt. That is why you are here now. One of the reasons why you're here now. And you know you're going to come back and see these kids.
No.
Yes, you do.
I'll die in Beatrice.
No, you're not going to die in Beatrice.
Watch.
Well, we're not going to let you down.
Yeah.
In Beatrice or anyplace else. Lobo and number 3. Which one was injured?
It was one of the guys.
Was it Lobo?
I'm not sure.
Was it you? Did you cut anywhere? Was you bleeding anywhere?
He'd never been cut except for once, and this one stabbed my leg.
Do you remember how this, one of the 2 guys got cut? What actually was going on when he got cut? Do you recall what part of his body he was cutting? Do you remember whether it was just a superficial cut or was it quite a large cut? Was he bleeding badly? Okay.
I have one question and then I won't quit. JoAnn, do you know what your blood type is?
O positive.
O positive.
Same as Lobo's. Because we used to both donate plasma.
That'll do her.
Long night.
Yeah, and considering, we've all got to be up early in the morning, I'm not going to get no sleep.
I'm not either.
This is Deputy Searcy. This interview has been ended, and the time is 10:22 hours. The date's March 16th, 1989. End of report. This Deputy Searcy of the Gage County Sheriff's Department taking a videotaped voluntary statement from ADA, JoAnn, JoAnn, last name Taylor, date of birth 7/30/63, current address Post Office Box 185, Leicester, North Carolina. This statement is being taken in the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department, located in Asheville, North Carolina. The time started is 8:17 p.m. This statement is in reference to case number 0285-000102 of the Beatrice Police Department, reference the Helen Wilson homicide, which occurred sometime during the late evening hours of February 5th, 1985, or the early morning hours of February 6th, 1985. Question, JoAnn, would you recite your full name, your date of birth, and your address for me, please?
Taylor JoAnn Taylor, and my date of birth is 7/30/63.
JoAnn, can you advise as to what location you are at this time?
I'm at the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department in custody.
And question, are you at the present time being interviewed in reference to an incident that occurred in Beatrice, Nebraska, February of 1985?
Yes, sir.
JoAnn, prior to this interview, at approximately 8:11 p.m. on March 6th, 1989, were you advised of your Miranda warnings by myself, Deputy Searcy?
You mean March 16th? Yes,
Correction,
sir.
March 16th.
Yes, sir.
And was Detective Sam Stevens of the Beatrice Police Department also present during
Yes, sir.
the advisement of your Miranda warnings?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand those warnings as they were read to you?
Yes, sir.
And how did you answer each and every statement that was read to you?
With a yes.
JoAnn, I'm going to show you a form now. Is this the form that was advised to you by myself, Deputy Searcy?
Yes, it is.
Are those the answers that you give this deputy?
Yes, sir.
Did you, in fact, sign that form?
Yes, that's
Is
my
this your-
signature. That's my date of birth.
JoAnn, again, the reason why we are visiting with you is in reference to the Helen Wilson case, which occurred in February of 1985. Do you have any knowledge of an incident which occurred in the 200 block of North 6th Street apartment building, which may have involved an incident which occurred of the homicide of a lady whom is known as Helen Wilson?
I have some recollection.
Okay. And how do you have that knowledge?
I was present at the time it happened.
You were present at the time it happened?
I was in the room.
And JoAnn, can you tell me the approximate time and date that this may have occurred?
It was, the best of my recollection, it was between 5:30 and 7 in the evening.
Are you sure of the time at this time?
Not completely good. I remember partially being there, but I have a problem with my memory. I block a lot of bad things out. I always have. And it's hard to remember.
JoAnn, at the time that you were at that location, reference this incident, was there anyone else with you?
There was Lobo and another boy, but I don't remember the other guy's name.
Who is Lobo?
He was their boyfriend at the time.
Can you give me, is that a nickname or is that his proper name?
It's his nickname.
Do you know his proper name?
I didn't know until last night.
And what is his proper name?
Joseph White.
Have you ever heard this gentleman been called Joseph White?
Not until last night.
Do you know Joseph White?
I know him as Lobo.
Do you know Lobo?
Yeah.
Was there, you stated there was someone else present at the time?
There was another boy, but I don't remember his name.
Can you give me a description of the gentleman, of the other subject that may have been him?
Between 5'6" and 5'8". Average build. Not real slender, not real bulky. Just a kind of average, moderate build. His hair, was about shoulder length, but it was brown. But other than that, I can't remember his face. I can't remember his eyes.
JoAnn, do you recall what the location may have looked like or what type of building this incident may have occurred in?
The building that I can remember that I see is a light-colored home. Like is a one-story house is what I, in my memories, can see.
Do you know where that residence may be located in Beatrice, Nebraska? JoAnn, I believe you've given a statement prior to giving a statement to Detective Stevens and myself at this time to Detective Calloway of the Duncombe County Sheriff's Office.
Mm-hmm.
During that statement, did you give him the same information that you're making known to me at this time?
I could see a light-colored house. And I didn't know the exact I could not see the street address or anything. It was just a light-colored house.
And what specifically did you tell Detective Calloway when you spoke with him?
Well, we sat and talked, and we worked on me bringing back little bits of memory because of my personality disorder. And originally, as far as I knew, Lobo was going to do yard work because he always done odds and ends, jobs for older people like shoveling sidewalks and so forth. And I told him, he asked me if I thought that was why he'd gone to this house, and it possibly could have been because he was a type that would help the elderly. But he told me that when we got there and he started getting mean with the lady, I told him I didn't want any part of it. I wanted to go home. And he told me I would either stay there or he would kill my daughter because he knew exactly where she could be found. And at the time, my daughter was 2 years old. She was in foster home.
JoAnn, if I may interject here, let me just try to get this clarified. Do you recall being in Beatrice, Nebraska on February 5, February 6, 1986?
I don't remember it, but the officer said they could prove that I was up there at the time. I don't remember much of 85 at all. I remember the last time I was in Beatrice, it was the last time that I'd gotten in trouble, which was when I was arrested for the drunk and disorderly. That's my last memory of Beatrice.
Okay, I'm going to try to help you refresh your memory. Do you remember where you was living? what apartment you was living in at that time?
I was living with Charlotte.
What is Charlotte's last name?
Starts with an M, but I can't pronounce it.
Okay, her last name at that time that you know her was Charlotte Mendenhall. Does that sound correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, do you know where that apartment was located?
It was down around the corner from the high school.
Okay, and that would have been, I'm just trying to refresh your memory. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to get the location clear. That would have been on Alice Street, one-way street going west.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been on top of a store, right?
Mm-hmm. Because we were across the street from the Western store.
Okay.
Because from the bedroom window, you could see the Western store.
Okay.
Because there was her and Cliff that also lived there.
Okay. Now, from that vantage point where you were,
Mm-hmm.
could you see that house that you're talking about here? Do you know what area that is from where you were? You don't recall that house?
No. I can see the house as plain as day. That's the only bad thing with my memory. It gets boggled.
We're going to take some time trying to unboggle it. Because
Sorry.
This is in February.
Uh-huh.
Now, Lobo wouldn't be doing yard work in February, would he?
No.
Okay. Do you remember what the weather was at that time? That you're thinking it's a house.
I can see a house.
JoAnn, how did you get to the location where this occurred? Do you recall that?
The kid that was with Bobo had a car.
Do you recall what the car looked like?
It was light blue, a small car. I don't know makes and models real well.
Had you ever had an occasion to be around this other gentleman that Lobo was with?
Yeah, he was a friend
Before.
of Lobo's.
Okay, so you had been around him a
I
few
had seen
times.
him a couple of times. I'd never gone anywhere with him until that night.
Had you seen him around with some of your other friends then during your occasions to be together? Is that what you're saying? Several times?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you did know him, but...
I knew him, but not real well. No. That's what
Do you
I'm looking for. He was an acquaintance, but not a real close acquaintance.
Do you remember what color hair this person would have had?
Kind of, a little bit darker than mine. Not quite, not black, but yet not real blonde either. It was just about as dark as mine, maybe a little bit darker. Not a whole lot.
JoAnn, do you remember specifically going to the location you're talking about?
I remember going to the house, and he asked me, I've got a real weak bladder, I know it's not well up that, but I'd asked, the lady if I could go to the restroom, because I was talking to her on the front porch, and she goes, yeah, I can show you the way, dear. She showed me into the restroom, and she'd turned around, when I came out the bathroom door, she'd turned around and asked what was he doing in the house, and I said, I didn't tell him to come in. We were trying to figure out why he'd come in. And he said, because he wanted to.
Okay. Now, after you were in the house, you said you went to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Lobo, Joseph White also came into the house.
Mm-hmm.
The lady asked you why he's there. What took place after that?
He told me to go sit on the couch, and I told him, no, I'm going back out to the car. If you want to talk business, you talk to her, because that's you're doing. I don't interfere when he wants to make money or anything. And he said, no, you're going to stay right here. And by this time, his buddy had come in and was standing blocking the doorway. And he'd gotten me by my jacket and said, you're going to stay here. And the lady told Lobo to leave, to get out. So it was, her house. So we couldn't understand why he'd come in. And he told her he didn't have to leave.
Anything else happened, JoAnn?
He had hold of her.
Can you step me through what else might have happened?
He had a hold of her, and he told her to say not to let me move, not to let me go outside, because I would leave. And she said something to him, and he started hitting her.
How did he hit her, JoAnn? Do you recall that?
All I can see is his arms moving. I don't know if it's open-handed, fisted, or...
What did the lady do? What happened then?
She was screaming. I told him to quit hurting her, to let her go. She hadn't done anything wrong. And he kept telling me she's got it coming. She knows what she's done. And he told me I'd better shut up because he knew he could kill Rachel. She's my daughter. And I told him, I said, no, you'll leave my kid alone. What's she got to do with this? I said, I'm leaving. Leave her alone. And he wouldn't let me leave. And he had a knife in his hand and turned around. He had it at my throat and said if I tried to move, he'd slice me and then he'd go kill my daughter.
What kind of knife did he have in his hand?
Kind of like a hunting knife, but it wasn't a real big one. It was just...
Do you know where that knife came from?
He carried a knife all the time. He always had a knife on him.
Okay, now, there's a little struggle?
Yeah,
okay.
Quite a bit.
What happens throughout that situation?
He's hitting her. He's got a cushion, like from a chair, couch or something. You know, pillow of some sort. And he keeps telling me I'm staying there, and I keep arguing with him, and I keep trying to struggle away from his buddy. And
did this all take place in this one location?
Pretty much.
Was there a possibility that maybe it went on into another room in the residence?
It could have.
Do you recall anything?
I don't remember it leaving the front area of the house.
Did you get involved in any way?
No. I wouldn't. I told him I wasn't taking part.
Did you try to do anything to stop it?
I tried to grab Lobo's arm to make him leave her alone, and he shoved me backwards.
Do you recall what this lady may have looked like?
Just that she was an older lady.
Was she a big lady, small lady?
No, not real big. She was about 155, 160. Just guessing now, because I can't remember real well.
Okay, as the incident goes on, can you tell me what else may have happened?
He raped her.
And how did he rape her, JoAnn? Can you describe what may have taken place?
I don't know how he got her undressed. I can't remember that part. I remember him being physically on top. Not to be blunt or rude, but I can see him on top. And she's got a glassy look to her face. Her coloring's not right. Her skin coloring don't look right. Quick shake.
Anything else happen between Lobo or anyone else in this?
The other boy raped her physically.
And how did they rape her, JoAnn? Was it normal? I mean, was it a normal sexual act? Can you describe what took place?
I can't remember that clearly. I can see him physically on her. But
do you recall what the lady may have had on that evening?
I can't remember what she was wearing at all. Officer Calloway tried to help me through that, him and another officer, and I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, JoAnn, is it possible, since you're having a little rough time bringing this to your mind, that you could be confused as to maybe a location or a residence?
It's possible.
Is that possible?
Yeah, with my personality disorder, it's hard. My psychologist, even in Beatrice, said I would have trouble remembering a lot.
Let's try just a little different approach to that, JoAnn. When you walked up and apparently you knocked on the door.
Lobo, knocked on the door.
And you asked to use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall where you went to go to the bathroom? What part of the house? How far into the house you go? Or?
It wasn't real far into the house.
Do you remember
like maybe went in through the living room, and our bathroom was off to the left.
Okay, that's good. Now, do you remember the living room? Was there any furniture in it? Do you remember? Is there a living room table? Or how would you know it was a living room?
There was a coffee table, a couch, and a recliner.
Okay. Now, if you remember seeing the
Because I remember
coffee
hitting
table,
the coffee table.
if you remember seeing the coffee table and the couch, we're going good. Now, do you recall seeing a bedroom?
Mm-hmm. It was off the other way from the bathroom, off to the other side of it.
Do you remember any kind of a struggle or any kind of a fight or anything going on in the bedroom?
No, I can remember.
Been there when this took place?
Because I was told I was there.
Who told you that?
Cops that picked me up last night told me they had proof I was there.
But you did admit the fact that you were there, and
I
you did
said I
see
could
some
have
particular, certain things happen, which you told us. Am I right or wrong?
I see things, yeah.
You did see something happen, didn't you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you weren't told that, were you?
No.
That's what you knew, am I correct? Okay. Is it also possible that you did maybe make comments to some people, but maybe you don't want to recall that now for fear of bringing someone else into it? Is that possible?
I can remember who else was involved in it. I seemed like a canary. Literally, no offense, but...
Do you, JoAnn, if we're going too fast or if you're mixing you up, let us know. I mentioned the name Kathy Gonzalez. Just trying to help you refresh your memory, okay? And you thought maybe you heard the name.
The name sounds familiar.
Let's go back prior to Kathy Gonzalez and talk a little bit about Lobo. Do you remember a girl by the name of Linda Griffith?
The name, but no.
This Linda was Lobo's girlfriend prior to Gonzalez girl. Apparently he thought a lot about Linda Griffith. And when he and Linda Griffith broke up in December, that's when...
He started doing drugs.
Okay. Now, the little blue car you say, let me put some words in your mind. Is that you recall a boy by the name of James Dean?
That might have been his name.
You recall that if he was driving this little blue car? Do you think he may have been the one who was with Lobo?
He could have been.
How about Mark Goodson? Remember him?
In Colorado.
Oh, he come back from California with you.
But he went by the nickname of Snake.
Right.
But he's from Colorado.
Now, do you think maybe he might have been one of them?
He could have been.
But you're not sure. You're just not sure. Is this right?
Well, Mark's a redhead.
Mark Goodson?
He's a redhead.
No.
He was when I knew him.
You're thinking about another boy that you read. Maybe he might be Cliff. Does that help you?
Would you like to stop and think about some of this a little bit? Are we going a little too fast for you? Would you like to stop and take a little break? Hey, and the time is 8:52 minutes, March 16th, 1989. This is Deputy Search of the Gates County Sheriff's Department. We're now resuming the videotaped interview with JoAnn Taylor. And the time started is 9:11 p.m. and the date is March 16th, 1989. JoAnn, as you recall, when we stopped the interview so that you could get a chance to refresh yourself, we were trying to identify another party whom you said was at the site where this incident occurred.
Mm-hmm.
However, you said you couldn't remember the name.
Ain't good with names.
Okay, you'll need to talk up now. This particular person, you give us a description of that person, okay? Earlier, am I not right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any knowledge of anything else about that person that you can tell me today? Is there anything else you can tell me about him? that might be able to help me?
That he worked out at the truck stop. The truck stop there, going out of Beatrice.
And where was that located?
Hold on. Can't think of the highway. Marshall's truck stop.
Okay. And how do you know this person was working at that location, or had been working, or whatever?
I hung with him pretty much. We were
Had
good
you
friends.
been at that location with him before?
Yeah.
And he had talked about working there?
I'd gone there and waited for him to get off work before.
Okay. If you was to see this particular person, either by picture or in person, could you identify that person?
Most likely.
Do you believe you could identify that person?
I think so.
JoAnn, now I'm not trying to get you all shook up again, understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you, just a little while ago you told me the name of a person whom you were in love with,
Mm-hmm.
a red-headed boy. You recall his name?
Clifford Lee Sheldon.
Okay. Do you remember that certain night that we're talking about now? Do you remember where he was?
Can't remember where he was. I'd seen him that day, but I don't remember where he was.
But you know that he wasn't with you.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Because
Where was
if he would have been with you, you would have been with him, right?
Right.
So he had to be someplace other. Do you remember him having any injuries that he may have been, had to stay home or be put up somewhere or something for them injuries?
His leg.
Okay. And what happened to his leg?
I know he hurt. It was hurt. Because it was in his right leg.
Okay. So where do people go that have hurt legs, fractures, bruises?
A hospital.
Okay. Now, could he have been in the hospital that night?
Could have been.
So that's why you weren't with him, because he was someplace that he couldn't be with you, right? Okay. Now, do you think Clifford Shelton was do you think that he was bisexual?
He used to be.
He used to be.
Uh-huh. Because he told me when we had started talking about marriage that he had to let me know about his past in case we ever run across any of his old friends.
So then you know some people have been bisexual and you know some people have been homosexual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, isn't it true that homosexual and bisexual people usually stay together?
Yeah.
So who would have been running around with Cliff Shelton that time?
Bobo
Lobo is one.
and Snake.
Snake would have been Mark Goodson, right? Okay, and then who would be the other one?
And Jimmy.
Jimmy Dean. Okay. Now there's one more that you said that worked at the truck stop, Marshall.
But I can't think of his name.
Can't think of his name.
But you can identify that person if you see.
I remember faces better than I do names.
JoAnn, let's go back a little bit to Lisa Pudendorf.
Blondie.
You called her Blondie. Are you remembering a little more about her now?
Just that me and her fought. Tried to punch her through her sister's car window one night.
Was that in fun, or was that...
We were pissed off at each other for something that happened at school. We were kind of after each other's boyfriend.
Okay, did you have an occasion to visit with her about anything about this particular incident we're talking about, to the best of your memory?
I may have brought it up when we were visiting. We were always hanging together.
Okay.
It could come up in conversation.
If something come up, what could have come up?
Just that I knew that they might find a woman
Okay. Might find an old woman what?
that was hurt
That was hurt?
pretty bad.
And did you maybe make another comment to her about this old woman?
Just that she might be dead.
Could that have been at a usual location that you might have met her on several other occasions?
At the park, most likely, because that's where we always have.
Okay, do you remember anything else about that particular time when you visited with her, when you made those statements you just stated to her? Do you recall having maybe looked around or during the time you talked to her, let me restate my question, during the time you were visiting with her and made those comments to her, what was her reaction? Do you recall?
Just kind of frightened and asked me how I knew.
And did you make a comment to her about how you might have known why you knew what you told her?
Yeah.
What did you say to her?
I had seen it happen.
That you seen it happen? Was there anything else that you said to her that you might have been able to prove or something about how you knew what you were saying?
I knew that Lobo had been there and that other people were with us.
Do you remember anything in and about the area of where the lady was that you might have made a comment to Lisa Pudendorf about?
Yeah, I may have told her I knew where it was, where the house was.
Could there have been anything in and about the area, though, an article that you might have made a comment to her about? Did you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay, kind of let that go and think about it, Ken. Do you recall this person having had a car that you stated that worked at Marshall's truck stop?
Yeah, it was brown and green, kind of. I don't know what make.
Okay,
I'm not
was that
familiar with makes.
Okay, how would you categorize that car? Big,
Medium.
little, small?
Not a medium, regular sized car. Not real big, but not real small either. Kind of a comfortable sized car.
Okay.
Please don't ask me to specify.
All right. Now
Comfortable.
you probably rode in a couple cars in the last 2 days, am I not right?
Yeah.
Okay. How would you compare the size of that vehicle to what you've, for instance, the sheriff's?
Do you remember struggle in the bedroom? Do you remember the fight in the bedroom, the blood on the sheets, the blood on the wall?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Okay. There was a battle in that bedroom, wasn't there?
It was Freddie.
Wasn't it a violent battle?
It was gross.
And you was out of your mind wanting to get out of there, weren't you? You have to talk about that. Go. Okay. And there was a knife involved in that bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was there two guys in that bedroom or just one?
Two.
Do you remember which one of the two had a knife?
Lobo usually had it, but not tonight.
That knife didn't belong to either one of the two.
Mm-mm.
So the knife had to come from someplace other than one of them two people. So it could have been a knife that belonged in the house.
Could have been. I don't
Now,
remember.
Well, after the struggle in the bedroom, we're doing very good. After the struggle in the bedroom, how did they get this lady's body from the bedroom into the living room?
They drug her.
Both of them?
Just Lobo, because she was small enough where he could pull her, where he could drag her.
Why did after they dragged her out, you remember, what was beside that door to hold that door open? Something big to hold that door open? You remember what it
Something
was?
heavy.
Remember what it was?
I think it was a suitcase or a trunk or something like that.
Now, see, the suitcase is coming in the picture. Now, you remember coming in the front door?
Uh-huh.
Now, could you have seen that suitcase there when you come in that front door that day? Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's coming clear. Now do you remember what was in that bedroom door, when that bedroom door opened? Sitting on the floor, a large object.
Yeah. It was big.
Okay, that's fine.
You couldn't help but notice it. You'd trip over it if you didn't see it.
If you've seen the pictures of all these, could you describe everything that we're talking about in them pictures?
I think so.
JoAnn, when you went to that building that night, there was two male individuals, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Lobo was one, and the other individual, you cannot remember the name, but you know where he worked, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Was there another person? Could there have been another female?
There could have been.
Was there another female, JoAnn?
Mm-hmm.
Was there a Beth?
Yeah, Bethany.
What was her last name?
Wow. Damn, I don't remember.
What does she look like, JoAnn?
She's skinny. She's little.
Pretty girl?
Kind of. Considering I don't judge girls. She could have, no.
What else
She's pretty
you
in her own way.
What else you remember about her? Was she a girlfriend to someone?
Yeah.
Who? Who was she a girlfriend to? Did she ever get married?
I don't think so.
Could she have been married, or was she dating someone at that time?
She was dating somebody.
Could she have been dating the person that was driving the car?
Yeah, because she always sat in the front seat in the middle.
Who was that person that was driving that car?
Wish I could remember his name. I know it's not Randy, but that's what keeps coming to mind.
Had Lobo lived with that person prior?
Probably because he didn't stay with me.
Okay, so now we know one thing, right? We know that there was another female there. Her first name was what?
Yeah, but I called her Bethy.
You called her Bethy, and she was a girlfriend or something to another male, one of the two males. And she was the girlfriend to the male that drove the car?
Mm-hmm. Because she was always in the front.
Okay, now was that individual also the same individual that worked at Marshall's truck stop?
Yeah, because it was his car.
You know what a windmill looks like?
Yeah?
Couple more questions, and maybe you're about ready for a break. Did you actually see Lobo tear the $5 bill in half?
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually see him throw half of it on the floor?
Yeah.
And what did he do with the other half?
Put it in his pocket. Called it his souvenir.
Did you ever see that other part of that $5 bill after that night?
Mm-hmm. Last time I saw it, it was laying beside her.
JoAnn, it appears like only professional people take souvenirs at the
Lobo
scene.
prided himself in trying to be a professional because of the connections he used to have that he was blackballed from.
How dangerous. Do you know if he's ever been involved in any homicide of this nature prior to this?
Not that I know of. I know he beat up a couple of girls, but they didn't kill them.
JoAnn, during your endeavors of being around Mark Goodson, whom you named, and Clifford Sheldon, did you ever know them individuals to ever attempt to do anything like this to anybody?
Not Cliffy.
Do you recall either?
Mark would talk big.
What would he say? What did he talk about?
And he'd fuck up any old woman for money.
Did you ever know him to do that?
Not until the night he was with Lobo. He bragged that he had, but I didn't believe him. Because boys like to talk.
He'd bragged that he had done something to old women.
He beat up a woman before.
But you don't have any knowledge of him ever having been involved in assaulting any old women or anything?
Not to your knowledge. He would brag about it. You know how boys all get together and brag, well, I can do this, I can do that. He was a bragger.
I hate to keep going back to this, but I know that this name is in your mind of the person who drove you to that location, who had the brown...
The name starts with an R. The name that keeps coming in mind starts with an R.
But you know the car was brown over green, and that Beth... What was her last name?
I can't remember her last name.
But Beth was the girlfriend to this particular person.
You talked to me after this crime had occurred. Do you remember me interviewing you? Do you remember
a little bit?
A little bit.
But then again, I was always talking to you and Mark.
Yeah.
Or Michael, rather.
Naturally, you lied to us. Now, tell me again why you lied to us. Because?
My daughter.
For protection of Rachel. Is that right? Okay.
I had no choice.
I understand that. That's why I want that on. That's why I want it on record. I want it on record. You had no choice. You've done it to protect your daughter, Rachel.
I had to.
Do you remember I called you that time? I called you, and what did you tell me that happened to Mark Goodson? Did you hear something about Mark Goodson that happened to him in Chicago?
I remember him going to Chicago because he had friends up there. But
do you recall you tell me on the telephone that you heard that he got killed in a shootout in Chicago?
Then I heard he was shot, yeah. I remember that. I wish I could remember more.
You've done great. You've done great. You told us everything.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be protecting someone, would you? Huh?
Not consciously.
Are you sure?
Are
you sure you're not?
Not consciously, I wouldn't.
I'm not sure I can believe that. I'm not sure I believe that. I think you're protecting somebody, and I think it's time that you start telling us who it is. Okay?
I'm not.
Huh?
I'm not.
Oh, baloney. I think you're doing it. Huh? Are you playing a game with us?
No, I'm fucking trying to save my daughter's life.
Sure you're
I don't give a damn. If you wanted to kill Rachel, it'll be on your fucking brain, not mine.
I don't want him to hurt Rachel. But what I want to do, we want to make sure we get everybody that's involved in this where they belong so that they don't do that. Okay?
JoAnn, I think... JoAnn, listen to this. Listen to this.
JoAnn.
Why don't you leave me? JoAnn, let me ask you one thing, okay? Let me tell you one thing. Just a second. Don't get teed off. Let me tell you something. It's going to be to your benefit if you listen to me, okay?
No, it's not, because they're going to
Yes, it is. No, it is. After you tell us who was in that apartment, we're going to tell you where he's at, and it's going to guarantee you that nothing's going to happen. We'll tell you where he's at. We'll tell you where they're all at. I can tell you where Cliff's at. I can tell you where Lobo's at. I can tell you where this other guy's at, and he's not going to have no problems, okay? Who was the two that had taken the old lady's panties off?
I don't remember which one I dressed her.
Do you recall what they done with the panties? Okay. Which one of the two had gotten into her purse? Remember that?
Lobo had it in his hand.
Okay. What did he take out of the purse?
Her wallet.
And you...
Scattered it.
Yeah. But he took one certain item out of there. What?
Her money.
And what did he do with the money?
Put it in his pocket.
But not all of it.
I asked him why he was doing it, and he said she owed it to him. That he deserved to have it for what he'd done.
So he was taking the money?
Did he ever show you any of that money afterwards?
He showed it to me, but I wouldn't take any.
Did he take any souvenirs?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Any kind of a books or magazines or cards?
He might have. I don't remember.
Did he leave anything there that he took out of the purse and left? Did he throw anything on the floor?
He scattered it. He scattered her the stuff that was in her pocketbook.
Did they, in any way, when they was through with their sexual activities, this old lady, did they in any way cover her up? Did they put any type of clothing on her anywhere?
I don't remember.
You didn't want to stay and see that?
I went out there, but Bobo wouldn't let me go. And I couldn't trust Rachel, Sam.
I understand that. And you talked to me about that before, about Rachel. But you said Lobo carries a knife.
He used to when I was around him anyway.
But you don't know if this is a knife that they used that night.
I think it is, because he's the only one that always carried one. I don't think Snake had one on him. Because Snake had given me one of his the day before. And I left it at home because I Cliff didn't want me carrying it.
Okay, JoAnn, a couple of questions here. Do you remember approximately what time of the evening that might have been?
Not real well.
Okay, you know, there's early, late, medium. What time of the evening do you think it was when you went to that location?
It was between 8 and 11
Okay.
at night.
What time do you believe you might have left that location?
Between midnight and 2.
Okay. Did anything else occur when you either went into the building or left the building that you remember?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Do you remember Mr. Stevens was asking you something about maybe what the body might have looked like?
Yeah.
Okay. There's something I know that I know you know. Do you remember anything that might have been in the area of that body that you may have told someone about?
Just that the pillow was there.
Is there anything else? Could there have been any type of furniture around?
Her bed.
Now, I'm talking in the close proximity of where she was laying.
Oh.
Remember any other articles of furniture other than chairs and stuff? Where did you go after you left the building, JoAnn?
Back to the car.
And then where did you go?
To dinner.
To where?
To dinner.
And where did you have dinner at?
The truck stop. Because there was only 2 places Lobo would go, and that's the truck stop and McDonald's. And McDonald's was closed.
JoAnn, did you ever see Lobo do anything with money that might be a trick or something? That you remember?
Mm-mm. Not right offhand.
When you was partying?
No, because when we were partying, I stayed high worse than the rest of them did.
Excuse me?
When we were partying, I stayed high worse than the rest of them did.
Did you ever see anybody play games or pull a trick on anybody that might have to do with any money?
Lobo played Irish poker a lot.
Did you ever see him do anything else with any paper money?
He could do hand tricks with it. But I
Did you ever see him do anything that might result in destruction of money?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? What would he do?
He would tear it up.
And why would he do that?
He liked doing it. He thought it was fun and cute.
And what would he do when he'd do this particular thing?
He would just tear it in certain ways to make certain different pictures out of it.
And what would he do with that money after he tore it?
He'd wad it up.
And what would he do with it?
He'd pick it back up.
And
I don't remember what he'd do.
would he throw it away, or?
All I know is he kept holding it in his hand. But
Do you ever see him do that a lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite a few times.
Did you ever see him putting them in these pockets?
Mm-hmm.
JoAnn, you seen him that night. You seen Lobo take $5 bill out of that purse that night in church, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And you seen him throw it on the ground.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
What happened to the other half, that $5 bill?
He stuck it in his pocket.
And is this what he calls keeping it for a souvenir? This true? Now, I want you to think very carefully, because this is important, okay? Did you people stake that apartment out that night, or did you just hit it by luck that nobody was there?
Lobo may have staked it out, but I wasn't with Lobo a lot. I was with Cliff more than anything.
Okay. When you
Lobo was familiar with it. He knew where the back door was, exactly which apartment building, which door he was going to. He was familiar with it.
Yes. You're doing excellent. When you was at that apartment,
Mm-hmm.
did you hear the alarm clock go off?
Mm-hmm.
And who shut that alarm clock on?
Lobo. No, he didn't either. He told Snake to. And Snake said, well, what about Joe?
Now, wait a minute, who's Snake?
Mark.
Mark Goodson?
Huh? That was his nickname.
So he
Snake.
was there too?
Yeah.
So there was 3 guys and
No,
you?
it was me and Mark and Lobo.
Was that the guy who used to work at the Marshalls?
I don't remember his name.
Was he there?
Oh, God. I'm getting them mixed up.
Okay. And just think, you told me that Mark Goodson, or Snake, was the one that shut the alarm clock off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So now, if you heard the alarm clock go off,
Mm-hmm.
then you heard the phone ring.
Mm-hmm.
Who picked the phone up, hung the phone up when it was ringing? You do remember somebody
I
shut?
remember somebody shutting the alarm clock off, and I remember the phone getting shut off. You know.
Okay, this is fine,
You
because this
you
is...
do it, and you can hear it drop.
This is very fine because this gives us the time, okay? You just established the time. Now, let me ask you again. You still think that it was Snake that shut the alarm clock off?
It was either him or Jimmy. I can't remember which one was with us, because we all hung together so much.
Yeah. The guy that worked out at Marshall's truck stop,
Mhm.
it was neither Snake nor Jimmy, was it?
Mm-hmm. Mark wasn't working.
So you're saying somebody other than the person that worked at Marshall's had shut the alarm clock off, and it wasn't Lobo. Lobo told somebody else to shut it off.
Yeah, because Lobo wasn't moving at the moment. He was busy, couldn't quit.
JoAnn, could you be truthful with me, okay?
I'm trying.
How many people was in that apartment then?
It was me and Lobo and another guy. I can't remember which one.
But I'm not going to tell you where they're at until you get it off your chest. Because you have to get off your chest. Once you get off your chest, you know who it is. You're scared because he lives in Beatrice, and you're scared of him hurting your daughter. You think that he's going to hurt your daughter because he's in Beatrice. You're not scared of Lobo.
Yeah, I am.
Okay? Lobo You know where he's at.
No, I don't.
Okay. We've got Lobo.
Yeah, that's what y'all say.
Okay. We've got him.
But I don't have any proof that y'all have got him.
We've got Mr. Shelton. And we got the other guy. Okay?
I don't remember.
I think that you really want to tell me. You really want to tell us. And we'll quit. We don't have any more.
But I
We don't have any more questions, JoAnn. That's the last question we've got. It's just that one name. Because we're mixed up now, just like you are. You says that Snake was the one that shut the alarm clock off. You said Snake was the one that picked up the phone lid down. I'm not too sure if you...
I don't remember.
You remember being there.
I remember being there, but I don't remember.
You remember going with Lobo there.
Damn, I wish I was high.
No, you don't. You're going to feel a lot better when this is over.
No, not because my daughter's going to get killed.
No, she's not.
Yes, she will.
No, she's not.
Yes, she will.
She's not going to get killed, JoAnn.
She'll get hurt, Sam. She'll get hurt.
No, she's not going to get hurt.
I know his connections. I know what will happen.
Whose connections?
Clubhouse.
We're not worried about Lobo. We've got Lobo under control.
Yeah. All Lobo has to do is get the word out, and she'll be hurt. Yeah.
You don't know where Lobo's been for 3 years. You don't have no more connections.
Well, I know Sonny and Dutch won't talk to him.
You don't have no
Because they
more.
want to kill him.
He don't have no more connections. I've talked to Lobo. I've talked to his mother. I've talked to his father. Yesterday. Believe me, JoAnn. I'm telling you the
Is
truth.
he okay?
Who?
Lobo.
He's okay, but he's not in Alabama no more.
You're worried about. I still have feelings. And I should.
Well, certainly. You have to have. But you're not scared of him. I don't think you're scared of him.
I'm scared of what I know he can do. Or what he used to be able to do.
He used to be.
Okay, JoAnn, listen.
He'll get out and
People
he'll hurt me,
change.
Sam.
People change.
I just got done talking to Sheriff DeWitt out there, see? Okay. Well, listen. The reason why you're afraid to name all the names, or if that's a problem for you, don't fear that, because he will ensure that you have protection, okay?
It's not me. I'm worried about
And your child. Okay? But we need that other name.
I can't remember it.
Could you pick the picture out of a lineup?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Not right now, I don't know.
If you've seen the individual, could you pick that person out?
In my frame of mind right now, I don't think so.
Was he married to Beth Johnson one time?
Ronnie.
Ronnie was married to Beth Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
You
He used to go with her.
Or you think the Beth Johnson I'm talking about, you remember a little bit about her?
She was skinny.
Right. Remember all her bad teeth she had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she got them all pulled.
That's what I need to do mine.
Well,
That's the point.
I'm not using that as an example.
I
I'm
know.
saying I'm trying to describe this lady.
Yeah, she's toothless. Used to be anyway.
Well, she's remarried twice. She's got a baby also.
Yeah, at least
I
she didn't
think-
have to worry about its safety.
I think this person you're trying to tell me that was in this apartment with you was married to her also. Does that help you?
Ronnie Helser used to go with have you ever got married to her or not?
No, that's not what I was thinking of.
They used to go together though.
JoAnn, during your endeavors with Lobo, Joseph White, and being around him, and the different activities that went on in the partying and what have you, okay?
Yeah.
And the drugs or whatever might have transpired.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Lobo have any homosexual activity with any other males? And whom might they have been?
That's why he was blackballed.
Whom might that have been?
There was a couple of different people that I know of.
Who do you remember?
I just remember our guys that we rode with.
Who was that?
Sonny,
Who?
Sonny, and Dutch. The guys we used to ride with.
Could it also have been another individual whom you know
Yeah.
that worked at Marshall's Truck Stop?
Can't remember his damn name.
But did he have homosexual activity with that individual too?
Mm-hmm. In my room.
In your room. And that's the person that you can't recall the name. And that is the same person that drove you to the apartment building?
Yeah, because it was his car.
And that also is the person that was Beth Johnson's boyfriend? Or Bethy,
That
as you
can
call her?
have us killed.
That can what?
Can have him killed.
Who can have you killed? This person? Is that who you're fearing? Is that why you don't want to tell me? Why don't you just tell me? We can protect you, okay?
Yeah, right.
You need to tell us, JoAnn.
Yeah, I can't pretend.
What
Can have him killed.
Who can have you killed? This person? Is that who you're fearing? Is that why you don't want to tell me? Why don't you just tell me? We can protect you, okay?
Yeah, right.
You need to tell us, JoAnn.
Yeah, I can't pretend.
What is his name? We can take him into custody if you'll tell us his name. We need that name, JoAnn. Sheriff DeWitt here will ensure your safety. We need that other name. I think you can. I think you don't want to tell me. What is his name, JoAnn? You already told me that you don't want to say it because you fear what he might do to Rachel. Is that right?
I don't want my daughter killed. Anybody's
Do you want to protect your daughter? Do you really mean that you want to protect your daughter? And yourself?
Why do you think I gave her up for adoption?
Then give me the name, JoAnn.
I can't remember it.
JoAnn, if he's going to hurt your kid, he would have done it a long time ago because he lived in
Not
he lived
necessarily.
in Beatrice 3 years after you were gone. Okay? And I remember one time you come up and told me the same thing you're telling me tonight, that he was going to hurt your child if you give me any more information. Now, you've had this locked up for 3 years inside you, and this kid isn't going to hurt nobody. He's got you scared, and right now, him and your boyfriend that you was in love with, he got Cliff Sheldon in one heck of a mess. I'm going to be right frank with you. Cliff Sheldon right now is in jail over this guy because he got him in the same trouble he got everybody else with.
I remember him struggling with her. I see him in the living room, but he had that other guy holding me, I could not move, and he went off toward, like he was going into another room, but he never did get out my side.
I know it's been several years, JoAnn. When you walked in that front door, you've done real good so far. Do you recall seeing anything right inside that front door? Boxes, packages, suitcases?
Not don't remember offhand at all.
Do you recall seeing the kitchen area? Do you recall seeing any piece of furniture with any large amount of pictures or plates or?
She had a table kind of off underneath one window that had pictures and stuff.
Would you say there was quite a few pictures?
Mm-hmm. She had a pretty big family. To look at the pictures, she said she had a big family.
Now, being that you're a mother and you love children, I understand that. And you have some children of your own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by looking at these pictures, could you tell, would these pictures be grown-ups or would they be more or less like grandchildren?
Children, her children and grandchildren, most likely. It's from what they looked, from the way they were sitting and arranged.
Were you any relation to this lady at all?
No.
How did
I don't
you?
have any relation to Beatrice.
Did you know her personally?
No. I had seen her once when Lobo had gone there before, but I stayed in the car when she answered the door.
And why would Lobo have gone there before?
I don't know. He'd helped, like I said, he helped with the elderly, but I don't know if he'd, done any work for her or anything.
Would he
Or
borrow?
that he'd known her, or he may have used her phone,
Would he
when
have borrowed
was out
money
there
from
or
this old
something.
lady, do you think?
He may have.
And do you recall how many couches might have been in this living room?
There's just a regular couch and a bus seat, I think. Or it may have been a second couch. It's hard to tell by the size.
Just one more question now. Do you recall when you left that apartment, do you recall that lady lying on the floor? Do you recall anything about her? Was her face?
She had a glassy look. Her eyes, when somebody's stunned, they've got a glass stare. Just like off into no man's land. That's how her eyes looked. She had a cold stare. Her coloring didn't look right.
And was any of the two people hurt? The other two guys, were any of them hurt?
The boys,
Were you hurt?
just from where I'd been thrown against the coffee table, trying to make Lobo quit.
This old lady didn't inflict any wounds on you?
No,
And she didn't inflict any wounds on the other two people?
not that I remember.
JoAnn, had you ever talked to anyone about this before?
No.
Anybody contact you in the last few days?
I had totally blocked Lobo out of my mind.
Are you sure you couldn't have talked to someone like maybe a real close friend?
I'm sure.
Okay. Now do you want to be truthful in this as much as possible?
Mhm.
Am I understanding that you want to tell the
I'm
truth?
trying to help, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have some problems here, so I want to kind of throw some things at you and give you something to think about here and see if maybe it doesn't jog your mind a little bit, okay? I, during the investigation, have talked to at least two people that you had contacted after this incident occurred that you spoke with, okay? And they stated to me that you had told them something about the incident. Do you recall anything about that right now?
I don't remember talking to anybody.
Okay, do you remember possibly standing in the yard of the junior high building the following day after the incident and seeing a bunch of cop cars somewhere?
I was always over by the junior high because I worked at the library. This is a library. I never did pay much attention to the cop cars. Where they were, I didn't worry about. As long as it wouldn't bother me.
Let's try to go back here a little bit. You said earlier that you could be confused about maybe the residence or an area,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Is it possible that the area that this occurred could have been close to where Charlotte was living?
It might have been. I don't remember real well.
Okay. Is it possible that the residence may have been of a large type complex?
It's possible with my memory. I can't say yes or no because I'd be...
Do you have some type of a medical situation?
I
Is
have
that-
a mental problem. I have what they call a personality disorder that I have been treated for.
And are you receiving treatment now?
No.
When was the last time you received treatment?
In January of 88, or 89, excuse me, in York, Pennsylvania, I was placed on Thorazine.
Let me say some things to you. You stated earlier to Sergeant Stevens that you know Charlotte Mendenhall.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in fact living with her at the time this might have occurred?
I was staying with her.
Okay, and she was living in an apartment,
Yeah.
and that was, like you stated earlier, above the flower shop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, is that correct?
Yeah, because Cliff was living with us.
Okay.
Wasn't, I know you lived at the top of the flower shop at one time, but this time that you're talking about, you mentioned earlier to me that you was living across the street from the Bell Shoe Shop.
Yeah, the Western store.
Yeah, was you living across the street at that time, or was you living up top? You lived both places. If you can clarify that.
I was living up top because I could see the Bell shop from my house, from Charlotte's room, from the window.
So that would be across the street on the same side where the office bar is on? Is that what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
JoAnn, you said that you remember this was in February?
I think so. My memory is all screwed up.
Okay. Is it possible that you could be confused about where you were living?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You did state that at the time this occurred you were living with Charlotte Mendenhall, is that correct? Is that true?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Did Charlotte ever live across the street by the office bar? Or was she living in another location, like you said earlier?
I don't remember.
Okay. You stated earlier that it was above the whole floor. Is that right? That's where Charlotte was residing at the time this occurred. And you were staying with her. Is that correct?
Yeah, because after I had Rachel, I'd go let my apartment go on Elm Street and
Okay.
stay down with Charlotte.
Okay. Now, do you know anyone by the name of Lisa Pudendorf?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll see if this will kind of help you out a
She
little
went
bit.
to school.
All right.
She was blind.
Now, like you said earlier, you want to try to get this all out. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, the fact that I mentioned Lisa Pudendorf to you, does that bring anything to your mind?
Just that I know her from school.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her?
When I was in school with her, yeah.
Okay. Did you ever have an occasion to visit with her out in Charles Park or the area around the school?
Oh, yeah, me and her and Cindy Riker all hung together.
Okay. Did you ever have an occasion to visit with her shortly after this incident occurred?
Nothing I remember.
Did you have an occasion to tell her any specific things about this incident? I want you to think real hard about this because, see, as you stated, you're going to try to tell the truth as accurately as you know, okay? So I want you to really concentrate and think about it. Did you ever make any comments to her about maybe the police finding an old lady that might have died, that may have been killed by either yourself or Lobo?
I'm not sure.
I want you to think about that a little bit. I need a yes or no to that, okay? Remember, we want to try to get it out black and white.
Just don't know anymore.
Is it that you tried to forget about this?
I have problems. There's a lot of my childhood I can't remember.
But it's something that you probably don't want to remember.
I don't want to remember Lobo. The man was dangerous.
Let's try to go back.
Didn't when Lobo was in Beatrice, didn't you tell everybody, especially me, at one point that Lobo was your father? Do you recall that?
He told everybody he was my daddy. He even had me believing it until just recently.
That you did tell people, including me, that he was your father, right?
Mm-hmm. Because as far as I knew, he was. Till I found him in Palmer one night.
And how old was Lobo?
Well,
And how old did you say you were?
I was 18.
You was 18.
18 or 19. Well, Rachel was born in 82.
But isn't it true that when you was in Beatrice in December of 1984, didn't Lobo have a girlfriend?
I think so.
Do you recall her name? Do girlfriend named Kathy Gonzalez?
Name sounds familiar.
Does that sound like that might have been Lobo's girlfriend's name at that time?
He talked about a Kathy.
Do you know where Kathy lived?
Okay, JoAnn, I want you to go back now. Think about Lisa Pudrow, okay? She was a pretty good friend of yours. Am I right or wrong?
Kinda. We had our following
Well,
house, but we were pretty good
You've seen
friends
quite a
from
bit
school.
of each other, am I correct?
Yeah, from
Okay.
school and all, yeah. We partied a lot, too.
All right, that's what she tells me.
And when I say when I'm drunk, God only knows, because I don't remember shit when I'm
Well, I
drunk.
don't think you were drunk this particular day, the way I got it. Lisa said that you made some specific comments about this particular woman possibly having been killed. Is that correct? Did you make any comments to her about anything about this woman or the area that she might be?
I don't remember talking to anybody about it.
JoAnn, how can you remember some things and then not the other things?
That's the way my mind is. It's fucked up, literally. It just, my psychologist will tell you, it comes and goes when it wants to. I can remember where I went to school in 3rd grade, but yet I can't remember what happened to me in 5th and 6th.
Did you ever make any comments to Charlotte Mendenhall?
Not that I know
Now, you realize you're talking about a real serious offense here, right? Okay? You also realize that, you know, you have claimed to have been there when this took place.
because I was told I was there.
Who told you that?
Cops that picked me up last night told me they had proof I was there.